We're here today to talk about Indonesia and how to travel cheaply to and within Indonesia for 2 weeks. Indonesia. So flights to either Jakarta or Bali Denpasar was the name of the airport area, the town there on Bali, are gonna be somewhere between about $373 and $725 depending on the time of year, and of course that's out of LAX. But there's always a cheap flight you can find to LAX, so it's never really an issue. So yeah, $725 on the high end really isn't even that bad, and you can get easily below $400, I think, if you're not going maybe at the high season.
As far as accommodation, there are plenty of super cheap places to stay. On the low end, you're gonna average about $450 a night for a hostel near the beach. When we were there, it was what, $250? It was about $250 a night to stay a block and a half from the beach. Great little hostel.
Jake thought it was dingy, but I didn't think so. I thought it was nice, and the people were nice, and
it was kind of dingy.
No.
But the people were super nice. It was just kind of cold. It was just a cold little area.
I liked the cold because it was about 120 degrees outside. So the cold was nice.
That's very fair.
Transportation within kind of the island there. We went over from the main island Bali to a smaller island Limbogan, and it was about $15 for the ferry ride over there. I say ferry, it was more like a death trap because this boat, especially he went over separate from Patrick and I, and his boat, you gotta tell him.
Well, first of all, my boat was called the G-Force.
There you go.
So that should have been enough warning in and of itself. When you're buying these tickets, you can haggle them down in price. It started out being about $50 and I got it down to $20.
Got mine down to 15 because I'm better.
Yeah, he got his down to 15. But it'll get you across the channel to this little island of Limbogan in about 15 minutes, which is a haul.
Ours was about 30, if that tells you how fast he was going.
They don't hit the brakes at all. He just floors it and it goes, and you're going waves, and it kind of felt like I was gonna die.
Yeah, I definitely got sick, but it's a quick way to get over there, pretty easy, very cheap. So if you need to take the ferries or the ferries between islands, that's definitely a realistic and cheap option, and the best way to do it, and potentially the only way to do it, I guess.
Yeah,
So
probably the only way. They have slow boats too, but those are more expensive and take forever. If you're flying in between the islands, such as from Jakarta to Denpasar, our flight was $50.
Although this was the flight we almost died, so.
It was.
If you're going to Indonesia, you have to keep in mind that there is between a 5 and 10% chance that you will die. I think
5 and 10 maybe a little high, but the flight was super cheap, and while we did have a pretty big scare, it still got us across the entire country for $50.
That's true. So I guess you got to weigh the benefits there. Food was, I thought, the number one, best thing about Indonesia. So cheap, first of all. You can eat probably the whole week for, anywhere from $56 to about $112, depending on what you're doing for each meal. 2 weeks, that's what I meant. Because it truly is that cheap. We went to this place just right down the street, a bunch. Got some nasi goreng, which is kind of like chicken and noodles, but better. And I can't describe how good it was. Patrick texted me the other day just saying he wanted some because it haunts your dreams in the best way.
As far as activities, you're gonna spend anywhere from $50 to $150 depending on what you want to do. There's scuba diving, there's parasailing, there's what other kind of stuff? You can rent scooters for $7 a day depending on where you are. $7 a day. We should have done that the whole time. I don't know why we didn't. We could have gotten everywhere.
I went to a bar and watched a West Ham game. That was cheap, so.
I will say, if you are gonna rent a scooter, your chances of dying go way up. Your chances of getting injured definitely skyrocket because there are no rules on the Indonesian roads. You can just do whatever you want and it'll be okay.
And based on my knowledge of Denpasar, where we were, you can probably get a massage a day the whole time you're there for about 14 bucks. You can probably do $1 a day. All they do is hound you on the street asking you if you want a massage. So
there's so many things to do in Indonesia. It is an incredibly beautiful country. We would definitely recommend going there. And I think that about does it for this edition of Traveling Cheaply.
just get that nasi goreng.
Just get the nasi goreng. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it.
Subscribe.
And come back next time for some more travel inspiration and wallet preservation.
Back to